Marcus Reed wiped the grease from his hands and crawled deeper into the ventilation shaft. The air recycling system on Haven's rest station had been making strange noises for 3 days now, and the station manager finally agreed to pay him to fix it. Marcus didn't mind the work since cargo runs had been slow lately, and he needed the credits. The shaft was cramped and hot, but Marcus had fixed worse things in worse places. He followed the sound of grinding metal through several turns, until he reached a junction where 4 shafts met. The noise was coming from the main fan assembly just ahead. Marcus pulled out his tools and got to work removing the access panel. As he worked, Marcus heard water running somewhere below him. He glanced down through a grate and saw blue-scaled skin and 4 muscular arms. His eyes went wide as he realized he was looking into someone's private quarters. The alien below was clearly bathing, and Marcus quickly looked away, feeling his face turn red. Marcus tried to back away quietly, but his tool bag caught on something and made a loud clang. The water stopped running immediately. Marcus held his breath and stayed perfectly still, hoping the alien hadn't heard him. Heavy footsteps moved across the floor below, and then everything went quiet. Marcus waited for what felt like forever before carefully gathering his tools. He needed to get out. Of there before, whoever lived down there came looking for the source of the noise. As he started to crawl backward, a massive blue hand punched through the grate beside his head. 4 arms grabbed Marcus and yanked him down through the opening. He hit the floor hard and found himself staring up at the biggest alien he had ever seen up close. She stood nearly 7 feet tall with dark blue scales covering her muscular body. Her 4 arms were crossed and her golden eyes burned with anger. "You saw me without my battle gear, human," she said in heavily accented Universal Common. "This means you have claimed me according to the old laws of my people." Marcus scrambled to his feet, backing against the wall. "Look, I'm really sorry. I was just fixing the air system, and I accidentally looked down. I didn't mean to see anything, I swear." The alien stepped closer, towering over him. "My name is Vera, of the Catherian War clan Bloodstone. You have seen me in my natural state, which means we are now bound by honor. You are my battlemate, whether you accept it or not." "Battlemate," Marcus squeaked. "I don't even know what that means. I was just doing my job." Vera's expression shifted from anger to confusion. "You do not know Catherian customs. This explains your strange behavior. Among my people, when someone sees you without armor or weapons, it means they wish to bond with you. It is a sacred ritual that cannot be undone." Marcus felt dizzy. "But I didn't know. I was just crawling through the vents trying to fix a fan." "It does not matter," Vera said firmly. "The bond has been made. I am now honor-bound to protect you, and you must accept me as your mate. This is the way of the Catherian. People!" Before Marcus could respond, the door to Vera's quarters burst open. 3 station security guards rushed in wearing the brown uniforms of the Gastropod Consortium. Their slug-like features glistened with slime as they raised their weapons. "We got reports of fighting in here," the lead guard said in a wet, gurgling voice. "The human was seen entering this area illegally." Vera moved in front of Marcus with fluid grace. "This human is under my protection. He is my claimed battlemate, and anyone who threatens him threatens me." The guards looked at each other nervously. Everyone knew better than to mess with Catherian warriors. "The human still needs to come with us for questioning about the trespassing. He goes nowhere without me," Vera growled. Her 4 hands moved to weapons that Marcus now noticed were hanging from her belt. Even in her private quarters, she was armed and dangerous. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Marcus could see the guards calculating whether it was worth fighting a Catherian warrior over a simple trespassing charge. Their slug-like faces were hard to read, but their body language suggested they were having second thoughts. "Perhaps we can work something out," the lead guard said slowly. "If the Catherian takes responsibility for the human, we might be able to overlook this incident." Vera nodded once. "I take full responsibility for my battlemate. His actions are my actions from this moment forward." Marcus wanted to protest, but something in Vera's tone told him to stay quiet. The guards seemed satisfied with this arrangement and began backing toward the door. As they left, the lead guard turned back. Just remember, Cytherean, your mate is still bound by station laws. If he causes trouble, you both will answer for it. After the guards left, Vera turned to Marcus. You are safe for now, battlemate, but you must stay close to me. The claiming bond means I am responsible for your safety and honor. Marcus sat down heavily on a nearby chair. This is insane. I was just trying to fix an air filter, and now I'm supposedly married to an alien warrior. Not married exactly, Vera said, sitting across from him. The claiming bond is more serious than human marriage. It means our lives are connected until death. I will protect you with my life, and you must learn to fight beside me. Fight beside you. Marcus laughed nervously. Lady, I'm just a cargo hauler and part-time mechanic. I wouldn't last 5 seconds in a real fight. Vera studied him carefully. You are small and weak by Cytherean standards, but you have clever hands and you move quietly. These are useful skills for a battlemate. I will teach you to fight properly. Before Marcus could respond, his communicator beeped with an urgent message. His face went pale as he read it. Oh no, this is really bad. What is wrong, battlemate? Marcus looked up at Vera with genuine fear in his eyes. Remember that cargo run I did last week? The one where I was supposed to deliver medical supplies to the Outer Rim? Well, it turns out I grabbed the wrong manifest and delivered weapons to the wrong people. What people? The enemies of the Hegemony Cartel, Marcus said quietly. And now they want me dead. Vera's golden eyes lit up with something that looked almost like excitement. Excellent battlemate. Our bonding celebration will be marked with glorious combat against worthy enemies. Marcus put his head in his hands. This day just keeps getting worse. Marcus spent the next morning hiding in Vera's quarters while she went to gather information about the bounty on his head. The Cytherean warrior had insisted he stay put while she handled reconnaissance, which made Marcus feel both grateful and useless at the same time. When Vera returned, she was carrying a bag that smelled terrible and looked pleased with herself. Good news, battlemate. The bounty is only 50,000 credits, which means they do not consider you a serious threat. Only 50,000, Marcus said weakly. That's more money than I make in 5 years. The bad news is that the Hegemony Cartel has sent a full assassination squad to collect. Vera continued, as if Marcus hadn't spoken. 6 Vax-High killers arrived this morning on a fast courier ship Marcus knew about the Vax-High from reputation. They were insect-like aliens with razor-sharp claws and a complete lack of mercy. Most people who got on their bad side simply disappeared without a trace. What's in the bag? Marcus asked, trying to distract himself from thoughts of being torn apart by giant alien bugs. Vera's face brightened, and she opened the bag, revealing what looked like a severed head with multiple eyes and tentacles. I brought you a courting gift, battlemate. The head of a gastropod who spoke ill of humans in my presence. Marcus jumped backward, nearly falling off his chair. You killed someone for insulting humans. Of course, Vera said, looking confused by his reaction. You are my battlemate, which means your honor is my honor. I could not allow such disrespect to go unpunished. But you can't just kill people for saying mean things. Vera tilted her head like a confused predator. Among Cythereans, bringing your mate the head of an enemy is considered romantic. Do humans not appreciate such gifts? No, we definitely do not appreciate severed heads, Marcus said firmly. In human culture, we show affection with flowers or chocolate or nice dinners. How strange, Vera mused. Your people are much more peaceful than I expected. This explains why the galaxy considers you weak. Before Marcus could respond, his communicator started beeping with proximity alerts. Multiple ships were approaching the station, and their signatures matched Vax-High vessels. Marcus felt his stomach drop as he realized the assassination squad had arrived. They're here, he whispered, showing Vera the scanner readings. Vera's 4 hands immediately went to her weapons, and her golden eyes took on a predatory gleam. Excellent. I was beginning to worry our bonding would not be properly celebrated with combat. Celebrated with combat, Marcus echoed faintly. Vera, these things are professional killers. As am I, battlemate, Vera said, strapping on pieces of blue metal armor. The difference is that I fight for honor while they fight only for credits. Honor always wins in the end. Marcus wanted to point out that honor didn't stop bullets, but before he could speak, the lights in the quarters went out. Emergency lighting kicked in a moment later, bathing everything in a red glow. The station's automated voice began announcing a security lockdown. They are trying to trap us, Vera said calmly. We must move now before they seal all the exits. Vera grabbed Marcus by the arm and pulled him toward the door. Her 4 arms moved, in perfect coordination as she checked her weapons and adjusted her armor while keeping one hand on Marcus at all times. The corridor outside was chaos. Aliens of dozens of species were running in every direction, trying to get to their ships before the lockdown became complete. Marcus could hear weapons fire echoing from somewhere deeper in the station. This way. Battlemate, Vera said, pulling Marcus down a side passage. My ship is docked on level 7. They had made it halfway to the lift when 6 creatures that looked like giant praying mantises dropped from the ceiling vents. Their compound eyes focused on Marcus with terrifying intensity, and their blade-like arms gleamed in the emergency lighting. Target acquired, one of them said in a clicking voice. Eliminate the human. Ignore the Catherian unless she interferes. I am afraid that is not possible, Vera said, stepping in front of Marcus. This human is under my protection. The lead Vax-High tilted its insect head. Stand aside, warrior. Our quarrel is not with you. Any quarrel with my battlemate is a quarrel with me, Vera replied, drawing all 4 of her weapons at once. 2 curved swords appeared in her upper hands while her lower hands pulled out a pair of energy pistols. Marcus watched in amazement as Vera moved like deadly poetry. The Vax-High were fast, but Vera was faster. Her 4 arms worked independently as she fought 3 attackers at once while Marcus crouched behind an overturned cargo container. The first, Vax-High lunged with its blade arms, but Vera parried with her swords while shooting another attacker with her pistols. She spun gracefully and took the head off a 3rd assassin before the others could react. What amazed Marcus most was how Vera seemed to enjoy the fight. She was actually smiling as she battled creatures that could have killed him without breaking a sweat. Every movement was precise and controlled, like she was dancing instead of fighting for their lives. The remaining 3 Vax-High tried to surround her, but Vera was too experienced for such simple tactics. She used the corridor walls to limit their angles of attack while her 4 arms created a whirlwind of steel and energy that nothing could penetrate. In less than 2 minutes, all 6 assassins were dead or dying. Vera stood among the bodies, breathing hard but otherwise unharmed. She looked at Marcus with something that might have been affection. You fought well, battlemate, she said approvingly. I didn't fight at all, Marcus protested. I hid behind a box while you did everything. Exactly, Vera nodded. You stayed safe and out of my way, which allowed me to focus on the enemy. Many warriors fail because their mates try to help and only create distractions, Marcus stared at her. So, hiding like a coward was actually the right thing to do. Among Catherians, we call it tactical awareness, Vera said, cleaning her blades. You recognized your limitations and acted accordingly. This shows wisdom. Before Marcus could respond, more weapons' fire echoed through the station. It sounded like a full-scale battle was breaking out in the main docking area. More enemies, Vera said with satisfaction. Come, battlemate. Let us see what other gifts this day brings us. As they ran toward the sound of fighting, Marcus couldn't help but think his life had become completely insane. 3 days ago, his biggest worry was whether he could afford fuel for his next cargo run. Now he was supposedly married to an alien warrior who brought him severed heads as presents and seemed to think getting attacked by professional killers was romantic. The worst part was that despite everything, Marcus was starting to like Vera. Her complete honesty was refreshing, even when she was talking about killing people, and her fierce protectiveness made him feel safer than he had in years. Maybe being claimed by a Catherian warrior wasn't the worst thing that could happen to a guy. 3 hours later, Marcus found himself aboard Vera's ship, staring out at the stars through the main viewport. Haven's rest station was now just a distant speck behind them, but the memory of fighting their way through corridors full of HFY assassins would stay with him forever. Vera's ship was impressive in a brutal sort of way. Everything was built for function over comfort, with weapon systems that could probably blow up small moons. The bridge was designed for a crew of 4 armed Catherians, but Vera ran it all by herself, with her 4 arms working multiple control stations at once. "Tell me about your people, battlemate," Vera said as she piloted them toward the outer system. "I have heard humans are weak and cowardly, but you showed courage back on the station." Marcus almost laughed. "Courage. I spent most of the fight hiding behind boxes while you did all the work." "You trusted me to protect you and stayed out of danger," Vera replied. "Many species would have panicked or tried to run. Panic gets you killed in combat." Marcus thought about that while watching space flow past the viewport. "Most aliens think humans are worthless, don't they?" "Not worthless exactly," Vera said carefully. "The galactic consensus is that humans are useful for simple tasks, but lack the natural advantages needed for real success. You have no claws or armor or psychic abilities. Your world has no rare resources that cannot be found elsewhere. Most species see you as minor players at best." "That's depressing, perhaps," Vera admitted. "But I am beginning to think the galaxy may be wrong about humans." Before Marcus could ask what she meant, the ship's communication system activated. A face appeared on the main screen that made Marcus's blood run cold. It was a HFY, but much larger than the assassins they had fought. Burn scars covered half its insect features, and its compound eyes burned with intelligence and hatred. "I am Commander Zix of the Hegemony Cartel," the creature said in perfect universal common. "You have killed my hunting pack human. This cannot go unpunished." Marcus tried to speak, but his voice came out as a squeak. Vera pushed him gently behind her and addressed the screen. "Your hunters attacked my battlemate," she said calmly. "They died honorably in combat. There is no shame in this." "The human delivered weapons to our enemies," Zix replied. "He cost us 3 systems and millions of credits in lost revenue. The bounty on his head has been increased to 500,000 credits. Marcus felt faint. 500,000 credits would bring every bounty hunter in the galaxy after him. "Furthermore," Zix continued, "we have decided that Earth itself poses a threat to our operations. The entire human species shows too much potential for causing disruption. We will be claiming your home world for the slave markets within the month." The transmission cut off, leaving Marcus and Vera staring at the blank screen. Marcus felt like the universe was collapsing around him. It was one thing to have assassins after him personally, but the thought of his entire species being enslaved was too horrible to process. "They cannot do this," Marcus whispered. "Earth has billions of people. The Hegemony Cartel is one of the most powerful organizations in the galaxy," Vera said quietly. "If they have decided to claim Earth, there is little anyone can do to stop them." Marcus turned to face her. "So that's it. My whole species gets enslaved because I delivered the wrong cargo." Vera studied his face carefully. "What would you do if you could stop them, battlemate?" "Anything," Marcus said without hesitation. "I'd do anything to protect my people." Something shifted in Vera's golden eyes. "Even if it meant fighting impossible odds against enemies that vastly outnumber us, yes. Even if it meant asking other species to risk their lives for a people they consider inferior. Yes," Marcus said more firmly. "If there's even a small chance of success, I have to try." Vera was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried a respect that hadn't been there before. 3 days ago, I thought humans were just another weak species that would fade into history, she said. But I have watched you face death with calm courage. I have seen you put others before yourself without hesitation. These are not the actions of a weak people. Marcus felt something warm growing in his chest. You really think humans might be stronger than we appear? I think the galaxy has made a terrible mistake in underestimating your species, Vera replied. And I think it is time someone taught them the error of their ways. Vera began working her ship's navigation system, plotting a course that would take them far from the main shipping lanes. We cannot fight the hegemony cartel alone, but we do not have to be alone. What do you mean? There are other species the galaxy considers minor or worthless, Vera explained. The Zephyrians are brilliant engineers, but their pacifist nature makes others think them weak. The Bruthans are fierce warriors, but their aggressive culture has gotten them exiled from most civilized systems. The Mindari have incredible psychic abilities, but they refuse to join the collective consciousness that most telepathic species prefer, Marcus began to understand. You want to unite all the underdogs. I want to show the galaxy that strength comes, in many forms, Vera said. Your people's greatest advantage is not physical power or advanced technology. It is your ability to see potential in others and bring out their best qualities. How do you know that? Vera gestured around the ship. In 3 days, you have changed how I think about honor and combat. You have shown me that protecting others can be more important than personal glory. No Cytherian has ever taught me such things. Marcus felt tears forming in his eyes. Vera, I don't know if I'm the right person for this. I'm just a cargo hauler who makes mistakes. You are my battle mate, Vera said firmly. And you are the human who will teach the galaxy to respect your species. I have faith in you, Marcus Reed. For the first time since this whole mess started, Marcus felt something other than fear and confusion. He felt hope. So what's our first move? We find allies, Vera said with a predatory smile. And then we show the hegemony cartel why they should never have threatened Earth. 2 weeks later, Marcus stood on the bridge of a converted cargo hauler, watching the strangest fleet in galactic history prepare for battle. What had started as just him and Vera had grown into something neither of them could have imagined. Their first recruit had been Nim, a Zephyrian engineer whose people were considered too peaceful to be taken seriously by the major powers. Nim's bird-like features and soft voice had fooled many into thinking he was helpless, but Marcus quickly learned that the engineer could design weapons and defensive systems that put military contractors to shame. Next came Kor, an exiled Bruthan, warrior whose people's reputation for aggression had made them unwelcome in most civilized systems. The 8-foot-tall alien looked like a walking tank with stone-like skin and arms that could crush steel, but Marcus found him surprisingly thoughtful and loyal once you earned his respect. The strangest addition to their group was Echo, a telepathic Mindari, who had been cast out from her collective for refusing to surrender her individual thoughts to the group mind. She appeared almost human, except for the silver markings on her pale skin and her ability to speak directly into people's minds. The hegemony fleet will reach Earth's outer system in 6 hours, Echo announced, without moving her lips. Her mental voice carried notes of urgency that made everyone pay attention. Marcus studied the tactical display showing the approaching enemy forces. 300 ships, including heavy cruisers and troop transports. Against them stood Marcus's ragtag alliance of maybe 50 vessels crewed by species that the galaxy had written off as failures. The odds are not in our favor, battlemate, Vera said quietly. She had been teaching Marcus Cytherian combat techniques for weeks, and he could now hold his own in a fight, but this was beyond anything personal skill could handle. Maybe the odds don't matter, Marcus replied. He had been thinking about this moment for days and had reached a conclusion that surprised even him. Nim, What's the status on the communication array? The Zephyrian's feathers ruffled with pride. All systems functioning perfectly. We can reach every ship in both fleets simultaneously, and the signal will be strong enough to broadcast throughout the solar system. Good, Marcus said. Core are your people in position. The Bruthan warrior's stone face split into what might have been a grin. My brothers wait in the asteroid belt as planned. The enemy will not expect us to use their own prejudices against them, Marcus nodded, and turned to the communication console. What he was about to do went against every tactical manual ever written, but sometimes the best strategy was no strategy at all. Open a channel to the hegemony fleet, he ordered. Vera's 4 eyes went wide. Battlemate, what are you doing? Something no one expects, Marcus replied as Commander Zix's scarred face appeared on the main screen. So the little human finally shows himself, Zix said with obvious satisfaction. I was beginning to think you had run away to hide in some distant system. I'm done running, Marcus said calmly. I want to discuss terms for Earth's surrender. The bridge went completely silent. Marcus could feel the shocked stares of his allies, but he kept his eyes on the screen. Zix's compound eyes gleamed with triumph. Wise choice human. The Vaxhi, Commander said. Perhaps your species has more intelligence than we credited you with. We do, Marcus agreed, which is why I have a counteroffer for you, Zix's insect head tilted in curiosity. You are hardly in a position to make demands. I'm offering you the chance to withdraw from Earth's system with your fleet intact, Marcus said. In exchange, I'll personally surrender to face whatever punishment you think I deserve. Marcus Novera hissed, but he held up a hand to silence her. Zix made a sound that might have been laughter. You would sacrifice yourself for a planet full of primitives who cannot even defend themselves every time, Marcus said without hesitation. That's what humans do. We protect each other even when the odds are impossible. How touching, Zix replied mockingly. Unfortunately, your noble gesture changes nothing. Earth will still be claimed for the slave markets, and you will still die. The only difference is that now I will make sure your death is particularly painful. Marcus smiled for the first time in weeks. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. Before Zix could respond, Marcus activated a second communication channel. Suddenly, every ship in both fleets could hear their conversation along with every communication array in Earth's solar system. People of Earth, Marcus said, speaking directly to the camera. You've just heard the hegemony cartel's true intentions. They don't want to negotiate or trade with us. They want to enslave our entire species and sell us like livestock. On the screen, Zix was gesturing frantically to his crew, trying to cut the transmission, but Nim had designed the system too well to be easily jammed. For too long, humanity has been considered weak by the galaxy, Marcus continued. They think we're primitives who will surrender at the first sign of real opposition. They think we lack the courage to fight against impossible odds. Marcus paused and looked directly into the camera. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Across the solar system, every human military installation received the same message, along with detailed tactical information about the approaching fleet. But more importantly, every civilian on Earth now knew exactly what they were facing and why they had to fight. You see, Commander Zix, Marcus said, turning back to the alien on his screen. Humans have one advantage you didn't count on. What advantage? Zix snarled. We're really good at making friends. At that moment, the asteroid belt erupted with activity as Core's hidden warriors emerged from concealment. Bruthan fighters that had been dismissed as pirates and outcasts revealed themselves to be disciplined. Soldiers with military-grade equipment, simultaneously long-range. Sensors detected multiple fleets jumping into the outer system. The Zephyrians had arrived with their advanced technology. The Mindari Collective had decided that Earth's cause was worth breaking their isolation. Dozens of other minor species, had answered the call, bringing whatever ships and weapons they could muster. "This is impossible," Zix said, staring at his tactical displays. "These species are enemies of each other." "Not anymore," Marcus replied. "We taught them something the major powers forgot long ago. Sometimes the best way to become strong is to help others become strong too." For the first time in the conversation, Zix looked genuinely worried. His fleet still outnumbered the Allied forces, but not by nearly as much as he had expected, and the coordination between species that should have been fighting each other was flawless. "It doesn't matter," Zix said, though his voice lacked its earlier confidence. "We are still the superior force, maybe," Marcus agreed. "But you're about to fight people who are protecting their homes and families. We're fighting for everything we care about while you're just fighting for profit." As if to prove his point, Earth's own defense forces began emerging from the inner system. Human ships that looked primitive compared to alien technology, but moved, with coordination and purpose that spoke of careful planning and desperate determination. "Last chance, Commander," Marcus said. "Withdraw now, and we'll let you leave peacefully." Zix's scarred face twisted with rage. "Never. All ships attack. Show these primitives the price of defying the hegemony." The battle that followed would be remembered throughout the galaxy for generations to come. The battle for Earth lasted 18 hours and changed the course of galactic history forever. Marcus watched from the command center as human ingenuity and alien cooperation created miracles that no military strategist could have predicted. NIMS. Zephyrian engineering had turned civilian cargo haulers into mobile weapons platforms, while Echo's Mindari telepaths coordinated the Allied fleet with a precision that made them fight like a single organism. Kor's Bruthan warriors used their reputation as mindless berserkers to lure enemy ships into carefully planned ambushes. But it was Earth's own defenders that truly amazed everyone watching. Human ships that looked fragile compared to alien warships used tactics that no enemy could predict. They fought in coordinated groups that broke apart and reformed like schools of fish while maintaining communication networks that adapted faster than enemy jamming could disrupt them. "The hegemony forces are pulling back to regroup," Echo announced as the first phase of battle ended. "They have lost 30% of their fleet, but they're bringing up reinforcements." Marcus studied the tactical display, knowing that this was only the beginning. The hegemony cartel had resources that his alliance couldn't match in a straight fight. They needed something more than clever tactics and alien cooperation. That's when the impossible happened. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the edge of the system," the communication officer reported. "It's from the Cosmic Dominion." Everyone on the bridge went silent. The Cosmic Dominion was a legend among spacefaring species. Ancient aliens who had ruled the galaxy for millions of years before withdrawing to their hidden strongholds among the stars. Most people weren't even sure they still existed. "Put it through," Marcus said, though his voice came out as barely a whisper. The face that appeared on screen was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. It seemed to be made of living crystal with patterns of light flowing beneath its transparent surface. When it spoke, its voice carried the weight of eons. "I am Keeper Prime of the Cosmic Dominion," the being said. "We have observed the conflict in this system with great interest." Commander Zix's image appeared on a split screen, his insect features showing confusion and growing fear. "Great Keeper, the hegemony cartel has always served the Dominion faithfully. You have served your own." "Greed," Keeper Prime replied coldly. "The Dominion has watched species rise and fall for millions of years. We have seen empires built on conquest and slavery crumble into dust, while civilizations based on cooperation and mutual respect endure across the ages." The crystal being's attention turned to Marcus. "Human Marcus Reed, your species has demonstrated something we have not witnessed in millennia. The ability to unite natural enemies in common cause, the wisdom to see strength in apparent weakness, the courage to sacrifice everything for others." Marcus found his voice, though it shook with the magnitude of what was happening. "We just did what felt right." "Exactly," Keeper Prime said, with what might have been approval. "The galaxy has forgotten. That true strength comes not from dominating others, but from lifting them up. Your species remembers this truth." The ancient being's image shifted to address the entire battle area. "The Cosmic Dominion hereby declares Earth and its allied species under our protection. Any attempt to enslave or destroy them will be considered an act of war against the Dominion itself." The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across space, dozens of hegemony ships began jumping away to hyperspace as quickly as their engines could manage. Commander Zix's face had gone pale with terror. "Great Keeper, please," Zix begged. "The cartel has invested heavily in this operation." "The cartel has 5 minutes to withdraw completely from this system," Keeper Prime replied. "After that, we will consider you hostile forces and act accordingly." 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Later, the last hegemony ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind only debris from the vessels they had lost. The greatest military threat Earth had ever faced had been neutralized, with nothing more than words from an ancient power. "Why?" Marcus asked when Keeper Prime's attention returned to him. "Why did you help us?" "Because in watching your species, we have remembered what we once were," the crystal being replied. "Before we became ancient and withdrawn, we too believed in cooperation and mutual respect. You have reminded us that these values are worth protecting." "What happens now?" Marcus asked. "Now your species takes its place among the galactic powers," Keeper Prime said. "Not as conquerors or slaves, but as teachers and mediators. The galaxy needs what humanity offers, the ability to see potential in others and help them achieve it." Over the following months, Marcus watched in amazement as Earth became the center of a new kind of galactic civilization. Species that had been enemies for centuries came to human, mediators to resolve their conflicts. The Zephyrians established engineering schools on a dozen worlds, sharing their knowledge freely. The Bruthans became the galaxy's most sought-after peacekeepers, using their strength to protect the weak instead of conquering them. Even the Cytherians began to change, adopting human concepts of teamwork and collective responsibility. Vera became the first of her people to command mixed-species crews, and her success inspired others to follow her example. "I still can't believe this all started because I accidentally looked through the wrong vent,"